Let's talk about Black Lives Matter. We have this from ABC News. BLM Chicago backs Palestine after Hamas terror invasion of Israel. And this is causing a major backlash. And tons of Democrats are now disavowing Black Lives Matter. This is going to be a huge break in the culture war because now you've got Democrats who are like, wait a minute, you mean the far left we've supported want Israelis to be killed? Yeah, take a look at this tweet. This is an archive. It was deleted from BLM Chicago. It says, that is all, that is it. And it says, I stand with Palestine, and it's a paraglider with a Palestinian flag. The paragliders are the ones who went into the music festival and started killing civilians.
They did more than just kill. They
Kidnapped, raped,
kidnapped, yeah,
children. And so this is an image explicitly supporting the tactic of targeting civilians. Look, man, we sit here and we complain about war all day. And when the U.S. has collateral damage, we complain about it. We support Julian Assange. He released collateral murder. We see these war crimes. We criticize Obama. We criticize Trump. Killing civilians is wrong. Israel kills civilians. We say it's wrong. The issue, however, is in the instance of Israel, oftentimes what they're saying is they've built a weapons depot and a military base under a hospital. We've given them a warning and we're going to take it out. I say, okay, do I take Israel's word for it? Well, the one thing I can say is Israel at least is saying that much. We are trying to avoid killing civilians. Well, okay. I don't trust governments, right? Everyone's got an agenda, but I can accept that. You then have Barack Obama's ridiculous nonsense excuse for killing an American citizen in Yemen. They've never answered for, and that's evil. But this is overtly celebrating the tactic of targeting civilians intentionally.
Yeah. You know,
that's Black Lives Matter.
Max Blumenthal, he was on last night, and he said that these guys were paratrooping to hit a military target and landed next to the target in the music festival, and it was an attack of opportunity as opposed to a target.
A target of opportunity.
Well, in that case.
I don't know if it really, I don't know how much it matters.
Wait. Like, I mean, if he's being factual, he's being factual.
Yes, but in terms of celebrating it still, I mean, that image now is still the image of attacking civilians at a music festival. It's not the wind blew the wrong way. We actually meant,
when they made this image, they knew what they were doing.
Exactly.
And they kept it up for hours. It wasn't like, oops, delete.
Right. Exactly.
And 20,000 comments or something before someone decided to take it down.
What I want to be careful of is, people were being critical of Max yesterday. They're like, oh, I can't believe he would downplay it. No, hold on. If it is a fact that Hamas was intending to target military bases, that would make sense. They say, we want to hit military bases. And then as they're coming through the sky, they say, hey, look, civilians, let's get them, because it is a known tactic to target civilians to use as bargaining chips against Israel. Max said all that too.
Yeah,
if those are facts, accept them. It proves definitively, or I should say, a journalist with a pro Palestine bias explicitly told us their strategy is target civilians.
Yeah, I think,
why would they attack an Israeli military base on paraglide? I mean, the IDF is scary.
No heat
You're
signature.
not going to barge in.
Well, what he was saying is that it caught him off guard. And it was humiliating.
It was quiet, off radar, because they're so low to the ground and no heat, probably.
Yeah.
What I find fascinating in the whole thing is that there are many people, prominent individuals, many who are very critical of Israel, saying that Israel knew this was coming and let it happen. And then you have Max, of all people, who is, much more opposed to Israel's actions, being like, no, there's no way Israel knew in advance. They were humiliated by this. Hamas was targeting the military bases, and the music festival was nearby, and so it became a target of opportunity for them because it is a known tactic they use. I'm like, wow.
But that wasn't the only place that was attacked.
Right. Yeah, they went to a bunch of villages.
Beaches, and anywhere.
So it makes me think that their primary target was take out the military perimeter, and then with a secondary target of get as many civilians as you can.
Right. It's evil. And this is the problem, right? I don't like war. I don't like the conflict. I don't like hearing about children dying in Gaza. They're all these tweets coming out the far left saying, "Oh, look at these innocent civilians." I'm like, yeah, it's all bad. It's all bad, dude. But I can ask this question of anyone, and you're going to get the same answer. The pro-Palestine side knows what the answer to this question is, and they will try to avoid answering it. What would happen to Israel if they removed all of the security fencing around Gaza and said, free movement for all within Gaza into Israel? What would happen?
Oh, we know exactly what happened.
We watched it happen.
Yeah, we watched
what happened when they tore the fences down.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. And so, you talk to someone who's pro-Palestine and they're going to say, well, I mean, it's like, oh, we get it. Yeah. This is the problem. You complain about what Israel's doing in Gaza, but what's the answer? well, these people are in open air prison. I'm like, yeah, and if they open the doors, it would be bloodshed, it would be murder, it would be massacres, it would be war, it would be, you know, we talk. A lot of people talk about 1948 and how it was wrong for, you know, Israelis to push Palestinians off their land, and I'm just like, it's war. I don't have a good answer for you, man. War is bad. It sucks. But the answer today is not to just make the war worse. That seems to be what Hamas wants to do. But anyway, back to the point, like, otherwise we're going to go in circles. Back to what Black Lives Matter represents. We also have a Democratic Socialist member of Congress. He has quit the DSA and denounced them for their support of all of this.
Who was it?
Let me pull up his name. Do you guys know his name? I had his
Jamal Bowman.
No.
Was he part of the DSA?
Shri, here we go. We got it. Shri Thanedar, congressman. He renounces. He's a proud Detroiter. Yeah, from Michigan. Michigan's 13th district, and he renounces his membership in the DSA, saying, "Today I'm officially renouncing my membership in the DSA after the brutal terror attacks in Israel, which included the indiscriminate murder, rape, and kidnapping of innocent men, women, and children. I can no longer associate with an organization unwilling to call out terror in all its forms. Sunday's hate-filled and anti-Semitic rally in New York City, promoted by the New York DSA, makes it impossible for me to continue my affiliation. I stand with Israel and its right to defend itself. There is no place for moral equivocation in the face of unadulterated evil, as we have seen from Hamas. I will continue to work towards the goals that brought me to Congress in the first place: universal health care, workers' rights, strong labor unions, equity for communities of color, environmental justice, and compassionate immigration. My ideals have not changed at all. I strongly believe that ending my association with the DSA serves my constituents' interests, as they expect me to represent them by helping to build a better, more just world, not fanning the flames of hatred." Shout out to Ryan Long, who put out a video called "Actor Doesn't Know Whether to Support Palestine or Israel." Because the fascinating thing is, what we're seeing here with Shri, and there's another story about a bunch of Harvard students who are being blacklisted, and now they're putting out letters being like, "No, we don't support Palestine. We're so sorry. We're so sorry." The default position for a lot of these people was, whatever the narrative is, I support. Whatever popular thing is. Black Lives Matter was current thing. Yep. We support it. BLM, not just BLM in Chicago, but LA, came out in defense of what Hamas did. Yep. And now, if you tweet in support of BLM, you will get canceled. Yep. These people don't have convictions, don't have morals, and were marching in lockstep with what they thought was the power structure. That meant when atrocities occurred on video, and we see innocent people being paraded around, murdered, kidnapped, etc., they ignore that and say, it doesn't matter, BLM is popular thing. Think about that. I want to reiterate that, because that explains the culture war so well. For all of us, we can sit here and be like, man, it's really bad when civilians died, no matter who does it, right? What Hamas did is horrifying and it's atrocious. We don't want war. I'm skeptical of these videos and these stories. Did babies really get beheaded? Man, this is tough. We try to be reasonable. So many actors, members of Congress, Harvard students, knowing these videos emerged, thought, but the left is in power, so I will just agree with whatever they say. And what happened? Major backlash. Regular people were like, bro, you just defended literal terror attacks on innocent civilians.
The problem with people that are obsessed with domestic politics and have no idea what's going on geopolitically. You got to know both.
Well,
you're going to speak
and I
out.
think in this case, it's important to note that Black Lives Matter is essentially saying the tactics Hamas use are justified, right? If you have a political movement within the United States that says essentially using civilians as pawns, harming them to get your political ends is worth doing, that is a very significant statement to take, right? We know the Black Lives Matter movements often end in riots and violence. The fact that they're lining up behind this kind of action is something we should all be extremely wary of.
Yeah, they share violent means to an end philosophy, although...
And they're confirming it on a geopolitical stage now.
Of course, yeah.
I'm just saying, they get passed off as being this, we're peaceful movement. And I think Tim's totally right. Ultimately, people don't know enough about these issues to be able to say definitively how they feel about it, but they know they're supposed to say something. That's why Ryan Long's video is so funny. He knows he's supposed to take a stance. He just doesn't know what it is because he takes his cues from everyone around him.
The issue is they don't care. That many of the people who are waving BLM flags and these Progress Pride flags don't know, don't care. All they're really saying is, I support what we view to be the cultural and institutional power. And so when the institutional powers do evil things, these people march in lockstep behind them. And that's why we talk about, I've mentioned that the Progress Pride flag is akin to the Nazi flag. Not in that it represents the same ideology, but that it represents people blindly marching behind what they view to be power. This shattered that. And now people are panicking. I love this. This Harvard student organization being like, we never meant this. No, we regret signing this letter in support of Palestine.
Money, because we'll get our 6-figure jobs when we graduate.
That's right. Yeah. Because now they're realizing they're getting canceled.
Right.
The only thing they ever cared about was looking like they fit in.
Yeah.
No morals and no principle.
But there's also, and I agree with you, but there's also, I mean, there's this ethos in the white liberal, I'll say white liberal, but culturally white, you know, the Western liberal. I think you were touching on this too, when they're suddenly horrified. It's this mentality, and it's so racist. I know that word's so overused, but it exposes how extremely racist they are. That they look at people like Islamic terrorists, and it's the same way they look at inner city violence in black communities, and they think, and they look at Israel, and they're like, Israel's a civilized country, so we hold them to a higher moral standard. We hold them to our moral standards. These third world people, they're stupid. Look at their skin colors, look how they live. We can't expect them to behave how we behave, and they're so oppressed. So we can't, Israel is held to a different standard. They cannot behave like this. These people, they just don't know any better. And we have to be their custodians. We have to stand up for them.
Exactly. It's deeply racist.
That is the liberal ethos so much. But then you have the more violent wing like BLM and Antifa that actually are like, no, we want to see dead bodies and we hate these people and we want communism now.
No, it's crazy.
But I think polite progressive class, that's exactly what it is. And now they're having this moral crisis of what side to choose.
And I think that they're going to have a really hard time reconciling this. I think when people want to do the right thing, but they don't actually think about the issues, they just think about what their friends are doing, they have no moral compass. I mean, with these Harvard students, if they really believed in what they said, they wouldn't have backed down. Nothing should be worth compromising your values for. But it's not about values, it's about signaling that they have done the right things. It reminds me of, and it's a terrible comparison to draw, but it reminds me of all of the people who suddenly became excited about various causes, like after the Parkland shooting, all these students who were suddenly deeply involved in gun violence, and they would hold protests and whatever else, and then they would get into elite colleges because they were signaling that they were behind the right thing all the time. I mean, that's how we got David Hogg, yes? And to what end? What are we doing to better serve the values of the community? Maybe they really stand by it, but ultimately it was the thing that they thought would help them get an advantage moving forward.
Yeah, of course. Like corporations virtue signaling, same thing. Well, this is the thing we have to do now.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.